Well, hey everybody, how's it going? It's me, Demonized Smurf Girl, the Jehovah's Witnesses. You know, I'm really Rose Bundy, Ted Bundy's daughter. That's why I act the way that I do. You know, no apologies. But I was raised Vanessa Lee Hansen and the Witnesses. But some people, you know, who would meet me, you know, like they kind of caught on, you know. But I want to talk about Warren Jeffs. Warren Jeffs and me. Whew. Hate that guy. Long, tan, and handsome. You know, like that's him. And he would, just like the Witnesses, just like with the Witnesses, with Demonized Smurf Girl, he was the same way, but worse. Worse. And I didn't really realize it until I was like about 15. But when I got on his radar, I got on when he got on mine, around the Demonized Smurf time, you know, my mom and Arden Hansen, my dad Ted Bundy, already having gone to prison, were traipsing me around these various assemblies in the same goddamn dress. You know, it's a serial killer's daughter. You know, she looks like a Demonized Smurf. You know, it was a lot of stuff. Like, it was a lot of stuff. And so Warren Jeffs, then, being how he is, he starts hanging around my stepdad, Arden Hansen, coming over to the house. You know, like, you know, who's this guy? And like, oh, you know, why don't you go over and you can work for Warren Jeffs? I was 10. Like, what do you mean? He just wants you, you know, and going over to his house, all weird. I thought he was a Jehovah's Witness. I didn't know. And I would stand beside his desk, and there was this, like my friend Jana. She married one of his sons. You know, I mean, so, and it's at the Kingdom Hall. So, and there was I thought I was a part of somebody else's wedding. You know, you're 10, you get handed a bouquet. Like, oh, my flower girl? Like, what? You know, and it was weird. It was weird. So then I was going over to his house, and I had to stand beside his desk, which was this, like, ornate, you know, kind of a Chucky kind of throne, and help him open his mail. I would have to open his mail, take out any cash, read it, and tell him if there was anything important. And I'd have to stand there in this dress. I'd have to stand there. And, you know, because it was like Arden and Joy Hansen wanted to get rid of me because I was like a liability. Oh, what are we going to do with Ted Bundy's daughter? What are we going to do? Like, they didn't want people to know that they had me because people were looking. You know, people are like, who's Ted Bundy's daughter? Who's Rose Bundy? And they didn't want to know. Didn't want anybody to know because it was a scandal. So I'm going over there, and I'm having to open his mail. I thought I was working for him. I don't know. Apparently I'm his first wife. I find out later, okay? Like, unofficially, but according to him, he thinks I'm his first wife. So anyway, I'm standing there, 10 years old, in this stupid dress, having to open his mail, and he tries to, you know, finger me standing up. he tries, you know, as I'm standing there. And I was holding the letter opener. So I stabbed him. Not deep enough, but in, like, what would he be, like the left upper arm? And he just looks up, he grabs my wrist, and he looks at me, he goes, you're going to have to do better than that. And he kind of even pushes it in farther, like a psycho. And then he pulls it out, and he goes, nah, it's no big deal. And then he takes me back home, and he goes, she's not ready, she's too young. You know, I'll come back for her. And I'm telling, when we realize, oh, you know, like, he's not a witness, I don't know, change of plans, I don't know. And when I was then 12, we fled to Tucson because he came back for me when I was 12, and we fled to Tucson in 1986 when I was 12 to flee from him. Nice going, Arden Hansen. You're such a psychopath. He's a psychopath. Like, psychopath on a level you have no idea. So we flee to Tucson, and then, oh, nothing's wrong. No, we came here to Tucson, the Hansons, Arden and Joy and Vanessa Hanson is what we were known as. Nothing wrong, nothing to see here, but it was all weird. And then they put me in the modeling industry for this. I was being pimped out, constantly pimped out. Pimped out in so many goddamn ways, it's not even funny. And I was about 15, 1989, here in Tucson. All of a sudden, Warren Jeffs shows up at the assembly. If you were there, he was showing up at the Tucson assemblies, like what? And they were bolo ties, and they were all, like these weird Mormon tuxedos. I have no idea. Just long, tan, and handsome, just one after the other. And my best friend was Jana, and so he was married off one of his sons to my best friend in the Kingdom Hall. And so he's just lurking around like Lurch, just like what? And people were like, what's the deal with this? They were going by the name Conroe, and it was like a row of cons, We were like, Mikey Brooks, I think, said, the one time I didn't bring my musket to the assembly. It was like crazy. And it was because he was looking for me. He was looking for me. And some of them, I forget who, if it was Rachel Jeffs or who, was coming up to me all starry-eyed, oh, it's so nice to meet you. Oh my goodness, and I'm like, what? And they're like, no, it's the ultimate prairie dress girl. I'm like, with the witnesses, you know me as Demonized Smurf Girl. I'm Demonized Smurf Girl too. Millions of Jehovah's Witnesses throughout the decades. Being Demonized Smurf Girl, I was ultimate prairie dress girl to them. Because it's not like witnesses don't talk about me, so it's same goddamn thing. And I'm like, what do you mean, ultimate prairie dress girl? Oh, because of the, the thing, the dress, what? And so I was treated like this little celebrity. And they wanted to go to Old Tucson. Because, he's weird about Laura Ingalls. Did you guys know that? Were you aware he's obsessed with Laura Ingalls? So he thinks I'm the real life Laura Ingalls. I'm not. Laura Ingalls was a long time ago, but he thinks that I'm the reincarnation of Laura Ingalls. And so that's why they dress the way they do. And so anyway, I'm like, yeah, I'll go to Old Tucson. Jana was dating Andy, and so, it was like, okay, yeah, we'll go to your Old Tucson, and see the old Laura Ingalls where some of it was filmed there, and, Little House on Prairie. And so, yeah, sure. And it was FLDS night. They own it, I think. From what I was told, they owned it. And so it was just prairie dresses galore. Just imagine Old Tucson, go look it up. And just prairie dresses, and Warren Jeffs just walking around in just prairie dresses. And me. I didn't even know how to dress. And so there was this minecart ride, and one of the boys was running it. And Warren would get on there with the little girls, and halfway through, they'd stop it. And they'd be like a timer. And everyone would have to wait. And then they'd start it back up. And it was like, what the fuck is going on? I'm Demonized Smurf Girl. I'm also ultimate prairie dress girl. So it went straight to my head. What is that? What's he doing? He did it several times in one night. And I was like, I already knew he was a weirdo. So I was like, took some of the boys and I said, is there a way where I can see what he's doing of why he's stopping with these girls in this minecart? And there was a door around back. So, I took some backup and went back there and saw what he was doing, yanked him out of the minecart, Roughed him up a little bit. Because, you know, I'm Rose Bundy. I'm going to rough people up. Like that. You know. Because I had anger issues. And so, anyway, he got like, you know, I got bent out of shape. I'm like, you know, so you're still a weirdo. Okay. You know, I could see you're a weirdo. I could see, well, and I went anyway, because I went just to kick his ass to begin with. Like, I was just looking for a reason. Like, I was looking for a reason to kick his ass. That's why I went. Like, sure, I'll go. I'm looking for a reason to kick Long Tan and Handsome's ass. I will go and see if I can find him doing something stupid. And sure enough, it didn't take very long. So I had been looking for a reason. Like, I was, you know, I went for a reason of, like, if he acts like a dope at Old Tucson doing something pedo, he's going to get his ass kicked. You know, because it had already been a situation from before. And like, I was trying to get him to stop following me around at the assembly. So it's like, okay, if I go to Old Tucson, well, that, you know, and then I'm going to catch him, you know, because I'm always about catching people, you know, that's my deal. That's about all of our deals in the apostate communities, catching people. So I went to catch him, and I caught him, and he got his butt kicked. So then, I left. I'm like, you know, huffy. Well, one of his sons, Andy, was dating Jana. So it was like, I was like, Andy? Because I had heard then about, because then I went to the little, I think it was Rachel Jeffs, went to her and I say, you know, what's going on? Tell me what's going on. Because I'm like the first wife. So I can do that. You know, that no. You tell me what's going on. So she did, and she told me about this room. It's like a fingering room. And Andy then told me, yeah, there's this shrine of you with this picture. I had my own copy. Warren had a copy. And I'm like this? And he goes, because I had it, and he goes, yeah. And there's a stand right there on those stairs. That's where it was. It was. It was on there. And I'm like, go show it to me. Like, can you get the keys? Yeah, I could get the keys. I could get the keys. I'm like, good. So we go wherever it was. And, like, it took a while. Like, it was, you know, like, let's go for a car ride. You know, we're going to go for a car ride of wherever this is, we're going to go. So we go. And it was night, and we go in there and we sneak in there, and my portrait was on that stand, this one. And he would lay them on there, gawking at it, praying at it, like a lunatic. So I took the portrait, and there was something else like on the wall, like something, like a cross of something, I can't remember, something. Like, and we BTK'd it. We burnt part of it. I took the portrait, and then like he came up to us as we were doing it. And it was like, what? You know, like what? I came to get my portrait. You know. And I called us, we were the fingering police. Every single FLDS girl, when Warren Jeffs was still there, has been fingered with him gawking at my portrait. And they know it. This is me, ultimate prairie dress girl. That's why Rachel spoke up. That's why Andy left. That's, you know, why Warren went to jail. Like, because Andy left and married Jana. Rachel spoke up. We went to court. And he's behind bars because he's filthy and disgusting. And I can't believe that he was gawking at my portrait while doing that to you. Put some pants on. Take those stupid dresses off. Because it makes me feel raped every single time I see one of you walking around like that. Because I know why they're walking around like that. And I shouldn't have to see it. At all. That's, ugh. I mean, it was nuts. And then somebody then heard about it and burnt old Tucson down. Like, that was another, when old Tucson burnt down, was because of that incident of them just burning it down because they had heard that Warren Jeffs owned it and of what had happened. And, you know, I don't know who did it. Somebody did. It wasn't me. But, you know, somebody did, because it was this big brouhaha of all kinds of people there. And, you know, and then he, of how he eventually got caught, was he called the cops about me taking back my portrait and desecration of a shrine. He actually was like, they desecrated a shrine. I'm like, oh, really? You know, it's a picture of me and of what, look at what you're doing. And so I, you know, explained and was like, look at this to the cops. Like, this is disgusting. You know, there's a reason why it was ripped apart. And that was when it was like, Rachel, you need to tell the cops. You know, and so, and then, you know, I was there for like the trial and stuff, but I don't even remember if I got up there and said anything or if I even needed to. I just sat there and glared at him. I don't even think I was there for the whole thing. I just went there for like, you know, 1-2 days or something. So I just wanted to let them know, you know, and to let the governing body of Jehovah's Witnesses know that Warren Jeffs is behind bars because of me too. And that's why. You know, and so if he's going to jail for that stupid ultimate prairie dress girl having a shrine, well, then what should happen to the demonized Smurf guys? Right? I mean, that was years ago. And then they're all downplaying it. Oh, downplaying it. Always goddamn downplaying it. Of why, you know, Warren Jeffs really went to, you know, of how, who, what got Rachel to speak up. Was that. And it was stupid. Like, I'm not, like, I could, you know, like, I wish that it wasn't as stupid as what it actually is, but maybe because it was stupid, that's why it didn't get in the media. It's like, well, that's really stupid. Yeah, it's real stupid. But look at the witnesses and the demonized Smurf. And, you know, and like, if as stupid as they are, is equally as stupid as Warren Jeffs. Like, both of them is equal. There's no that's more stupid than the other. Just Google it. So, hey, Warren, it's your first wife, Rose Bundy, Vanessa Lee Hansen, demonized Smurf girl, ultimate prairie dress girl. I hate you. And, you know, I'm sure you have to stay in isolation because there's a lot of guys in there that when they find this out, they're going to be like, what? You know, I don't know, your prophet's, you know, barely on one leg. If you think that's a prophet, you think that's a prophet? You know, it makes the governing body of Jehovah's Witnesses truly look anointed. Like, you know, compared to that. But anyway, I just wanted to say that, and it's because it's really irritating. And at the time, I was only like 15 when it first, you know, 10, and then, you know, it's been going on a lot. Been going on as long as the demonized Smurf, and that was just one rung of, you know. And so I just want to say that.